Todd Zimmer. And Dreama Caldwell. Todd is the co-founder and co-director of Down Home North Carolina. He's a native North Carolinian, although he spent a stint in the Bay, with more than 20 years of experience organizing and campaigning for justice. Before founding Down Home in 2017, as a lot of us did with a bottle of wine and massive depression after November 8th in 2016, before he founded, he'd served in a number of staff roles, including National Campaign Coordinator for Showing Up for Racial Justice and Climate Finance Campaigner for the Rainforest Action Network. Todd lives in Greensboro with his wife and their 2 young children who enjoyed the sea lions at Pier 39 yesterday or so.
Good afternoon. Y'all, thank you so much for coming and being here and being a part of Airlift. W.E.B. Du Bois said, as goes the South, so goes the nation. And y'all get that. So thank you. I think some of our members in these little tiny small towns in North Carolina, it would blow their minds to know that you can come to California and be in a room full of people who care about the work that we're a part of. So thank y'all so much for that. It's good. This slideshow, it's just kind of for flavor, so don't, not too much going on back there. And Carol, just whatever's up is cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Whatever happens.
Don't worry about it. But Dreama's story is incredible, and Dreama's an incredible person, Dreama. I love co-directing with you. I also want y'all to know that there are people like Dreama with the quality of leadership and perseverance and tenacity and brilliance all over the map of North Carolina in small towns and rural places. And more they're finding our organization, and more they're deciding to run for office, and they're stepping up into leadership for their communities. And it's the most beautiful, heartwarming part of the work for me. And I wish that y'all could all come visit and see that. But what I also want y'all to know is that when we founded Down Home in 2017, at the time we were 7 years into living under Republican supermajorities that were doing massive damage to our communities every single day and every single cycle, and there didn't seem to be an end to that coming. In 2017, we also were, I don't know how many years at that point, 5, 6 years into a refusal to expand Medicaid in North Carolina, which had left 600,000 Carolinians paying federal taxes for Medicaid every year but receiving no benefits, and unable to access care without risking debt, and often foregoing care and getting sick because they couldn't make it work. Just, you heard about the conditions for people who are struggling. And people like Dreama and the people I just mentioned, living in small towns and rural places, in the 80 of our 100 counties that are small town and rural, there was no way for them to organize locally or collectively to be a part of a multiracial movement on the basis of shared interest, to do things like expand Medicaid, right, or have representation that reflected the needs of those communities. And I'm really proud to tell y'all, we broke that supermajority in 2018. We defended against its return in 2020. We also stopped its return in 2022. There's a little star there I'll come back to. And y'all, earlier this year, we passed Medicaid expansion. Thank you. I'm going to try not to cry. But we became the 40th state in the country after 9 years of struggle to pass Medicaid expansion, and I want to take special pride in this. Our members made that happen. Here's how I know. The 7 states before North Carolina that passed Medicaid did it through public ballot initiative. It's actually never failed on a public ballot initiative because it's popular and it's because what people want. People have always wanted it in North Carolina. We don't have public ballot initiatives. Only our state legislature can put ballot initiatives in front of the public. So guess what body passed Medicaid expansion? This same Republican-controlled legislature that had opposed it for 9 years. Now, why would they do that? did we just use the right words and suddenly the argument clicked and they're like, oh, we should do that? No, that's not what happened. And it didn't happen because their hearts grew 3 sizes. The reason that Medicaid expansion passed in North Carolina is because Down Home North Carolina and our allies have been taking the fight to the previously safe red rule districts where resistance to Medicaid was the strongest. And we've been knocking on doors, and we've been talking to people like Dreama, and we've been inviting them into our organization, and we've started to not only contest for, but win those political contests. And every cycle, we've been pushing the battlefield a little bit broader. We've been in more places. We've been forcing them to defend places that used to be safe. And like I just named, we've been denying them their top political objective in the state over and over and over again. So if you're sitting nationally and you're watching things like the fact that Biden didn't win the state in 2020, he lost by 1.3 percentage points. He lost by 75,000 votes, y'all. Okay, it was extremely close. But granted, he didn't win. We also, in 2022, failed, right, to win our U.S. Senate race. Sherry Beasley came very, very close, even though she wasn't fully funded compared to comparable states. She lost by 3 percentage points. So if you're a national observer and you're like, North Carolina, you always break my heart. I get my hopes up, and then they get dashed. You'd be forgiven for feeling pessimistic, especially with what's happened lately and all the negative headlines that are coming out about our state. We just passed a 12-week abortion ban. Because that supermajority that our members won by knocking 40,000 doors in a single district to elect a black nurse by 600 votes, which gave us that 1-seat cushion. That's work we did last year. We lost that cushion because a Democrat changed parties. Yeah, you should have heard what we were saying when that happened. We had a Democrat change parties, which put us back under supermajorities, and they've wasted absolutely no time in attacking our communities just like we knew that they would. Okay? So we've got work to do. We need to make sure there's an expiration date on their power, and there is one. It's election day next year. And we are building a plan with our partners to not only be able to crush that supermajority and get rid of it once and for all. Y'all, there are 4 districts that we've never even tried to compete in where Democrats are already losing by less than 1,000 votes. We're going to go get all those. So that supermajority is going to be done. But we also have to fight in a statewide election, which is really difficult in a state that has 80 rural counties, right? We have a really intense governor's race, and we have 16 electors to contribute to the presidential contest. And if you're a Republican candidate and you lose North Carolina, you just lost the whole race. So the Biden administration just announced last week that they're going to be fighting at scale in North Carolina to win and treating it like the full battleground that it is, which is really good. Yeah. I was so happy to hear this because North Carolina, y'all, there's no purple state in the country that's more poised to go blue and stay blue than we are. But it's going to take work. It's not just going to happen. And if we do our jobs well and we're out there talking to voters about this unpopular 12-week abortion ban and all the other nonsense that we're facing, we are going to do that between now and November, like mark my words. So we need your help with that. And I really genuinely wish that y'all could each come see the beautiful work that's on the ground. I was telling the Airlift team earlier, I can probably feel like you're sending money out into who knows where, right? That money hits the ground where we work. We had a couple hundred people on to help us fight in the last election, getting paid to knock doors. Hundreds of those people were our members, people in the kind of life situation that Dreama described, who are telling us that I'm going to have heat this winter for the first time ever because I've gotten paid to knock doors. I volunteer all year round. I'm able to get paid to knock doors during an election. This is awesome. And we have staff who are able to buy their first homes, who are able to get dental care for the first time because we pay our workers well. So that money is not only changing the electoral map for North Carolina and the country, it's also improving people's lives. And I'm trying to think about how I want to wrap this up. I'd love to talk with y'all about the nerdy parts of this work, right? What I can tell you is to win in North Carolina next year, we're going to have to knock 3.4 million doors as a coalition. Down home is, we're working with the Carolina Federation, who Airlift also supports. They're focused on some of the moderate-sized metros in our state. We have 10 moderate-sized metros in our state. We are backstopping, frankly, the most difficult low-density turf that you have to cover to win in North Carolina. We're going to be in 20 of our 100 counties as down home. 1 out of every 7 doors that gets knocked will be a door that we are knocking in a small town or a rural place. And rest assured that the people that we meet on those doors, we are inviting into our work, we are following up to have one-on-ones with, we are making sure that when the election ends, win or lose, there's a center of gravity in that county where people can continue to come, continue to get trained, continue to fight for the next cycle. And this is good news for y'all, because in 2026 and 2028, North Carolina has the 2 best prospects for Democrat Senate pickups in the U.S. Senate. So, thank you. The help that y'all can send to us now helps us win in 24, presidential, gubernatorial, smashing the supermajority. And you're helping us build infrastructure so that when 2026 comes and 2028 comes, we are as strong and in as many places as we need to be to protect that national body and protect working people all over the country. So again, there's some packets back here that have a bunch of charts and maps, if that's what you like. And I'd love to answer any questions either now or later. But I'll wrap it up, and thank y'all again so much for making this work possible. We really do appreciate you.